Great stuff. Hello. First of all, thank you all for coming. This is obviously a huge turnout. I've got the graveyard shift, which I thought might be the case, and it also coincides with Wimbledon. Thankfully, Andy Murray has already won, or else there'll probably be one person here, and that'll probably be me. And I think coming up in about 5 minutes is the Argentina game. So really up against it. So if I keep it really brief, we can probably all be in the bar for the Argentina game. So maybe that's what I'll do. But I do appreciate you coming along anyway. So today's session, been asked by Streaming Media to present on real-time video, real-time clip sharing. And the company I'm from is Grabyo. And I'll talk more about us, but first of all, what is real-time video? So we're talking about video that is shared to the audience in near real time. So broadcasters, content rights holders, sharing content from their streams, be it from their TV feeds, from IP feeds, from events, and sharing it to the audience across the social networks and their sites and OVP platforms. So why real-time video? The difference here is we're talking about real-time video as opposed to highlights. Highlights typically very curated, have time to go through edit suites that take a lot of time and resource to then deliver back to the audience. Whereas real-time, what we're trying to do is really to capture the audience and create extra value for a broadcaster. That's right, yeah, absolutely rapid replay. So, and I'll show you straight away kind of a very quick video as well, and feel free just to interject and shout any questions out. You know, there's enough of us here to just make it a really interactive forum. You could probably sit on these 5 chairs here or there and we could do it from the same. But so why would you share real-time video? So the first reason really is to engage the audience. So your audience is on social platforms, you know they're there, you want to get content out to them. You want to drive tune-in. So be it as a broadcaster doing traditional TV linear broadcast or broadcasting streams like many people here today would be doing on the web, it's key and very difficult to drive people back to those streams. So by sharing very short snippets of content, very much short form content, you can drive people back into the live environment. And finally, to make some money, we're all here to do that. Real-time clip sharing has a big opportunity for broadcasters to be able to monetize their content. So some kind of brief history. So Grabyo is part of Showcaster, and Showcaster you may be familiar with. We've worked with Streaming Media and presented a lot of events over the years, and Showcaster is a live streaming platform. So we work with broadcasters and rights holders to help them stream events. It was from that we started to see a real shift towards real-time video and the engagement that the broadcasters needed to try and capture the audience and capture all the buzz that's happening on second screen platforms. So back in June last year, we launched a consumer version of Grabyo with Britain and Ireland's Next Top Model. So fraught with rights hurdles to overcome, a consumer version of Grabyo was launched, and this enabled consumers via their mobiles, tablets and PCs to be able to watch on the first screen and be able to grab moments from the show whilst they were watching and share those moments straight away with their audience on Twitter and Facebook. So as I said, rights clearly a challenge there for any broadcaster with the content that's there. But the concept really worked, and we saw great levels of engagement in the consumers, but also from the brands that were sponsoring the content that was going out here. And the broadcasters were kind of going, right, this is great, but we'd like to share the content because we have already 1.5 million, 2 million followers on Twitter and Facebook. And likewise, we saw the opportunity for more niche broadcasts where they have a very specialist audience to be able to share clips themselves. So in September last year, after 3 months hard graft, we launched a broadcast proposition. So this is an edit suite that enables the broadcasters, so the content editors, to be able to grab and share clips in real time to their audience across Twitter, Facebook, and the web. So I'll take you through what we do and what we see in the market and how the market's evolving. But first of all, here's just a quick video in line with what we're seeing now. So this was shared on Monday. There's no spoilers, so if you're watching today at Wimbledon when you get home tonight, I won't be ruining the Andy Murray result, but I'm sure you already know it. But this video here was shared via Wimbledon, that's wimbledon.com, straight out onto Twitter and Facebook.
Game, set and match.
What a perfect start to the defence of his title here.
6-1, 6-4, 7-5.
He got a stern test in the third set. He overwhelmed the diminutive Belgium in the opening couple. Out-muscled him, out-fought him. And Murray moves through swiftly into the second round.
So I just thought I'd show that video. Now that was at the end of the match, but when Andy Murray walked on, they were able, via our platform, to be able to grab the clip of him walking out of the changing rooms, walking to the court, to be able to share that to their audience across social media. And the purpose of doing that for Wimbledon wasn't around sponsorship, it was to drive people to tune in to Wimbledon.com, listen to the commentary and watch the live feed that's going on. And they were able to get that clip out there in around about 20 seconds from the moment that it had aired on the broadcast. And obviously the clip at the end purely is just to get the social buzz around it and have the audience sharing that content. So what is Grabio? So effectively what we have is create an ecosystem where you can grab content, which is here, and I'll move on to talk more about technology, how that works. You grab the content very quickly, very easily, and this can be done via typically a content editor that doesn't have to have any technical expertise to do it. You don't need to be a video editor to use the platform. I'm certainly not, and if you can see any of the videos I've created from kind of ski holidays, you can see that Photoshop and various iMovie tools is not my thing, but it's very easy just to select a video very quickly and edit that with precision editing, frame by frame, and then share that clip. And sharing the clip is really important. So the second piece I've got here shows the clip being shared out to Twitter, to Facebook, potentially to your OVP, and also into your website. So all of the clips are housed within galleries that show all of the clips that have been shared, and they can also be embedded within live blogs. So again, at Wimbledon, they're taking some of these clips and actually embedding them into the commentary they've got. And the final piece of the jigsaw is the engagement. And this is what's really kind of new and the exciting part for us, is that real-time video has created new video inventory. It's created additional reach for content. So typically, you've got the organic distribution of your content, but now with tools such as Grabio and the market evolving, there's the likes of Twitter Amplified that enable you to push your content out to an audience, and then actually, with brand sponsorship, maximize the reach of that to effectively target a new audience. And I'll move on to talk about some of those revenue generation opportunities. So how does it work? So Grabio is a cloud-based editing tool. If you would like to know more or want to get a demo from me afterwards, just give me a shout and we can arrange that. But effectively, it's a cloud-based tool that brings in your live feed here, and this can be a TV feed, so a satellite feed, or it could be an IP feed or an RTMP feed. So it comes into the studio and plays live here. But it doesn't have to be a live feed. This could still be pre-recorded content from a show. And what we see is certain broadcasters or companies that maybe don't have the budget to actually say, well, we don't have the resources to be able to clip up content before the show airs. So we will just do it as it goes out live. So this can be off just a typical linear feed. Here you've got some, yeah, so what we actually have, we can either take the feed from the broadcaster in various formats, but we also have an ingest facility whereby we can see all the satellite and terrestrial feeds. So we would just work with the broadcaster to work on the best option, really, for that. So you've got the live feed coming in here, and a very simple set of tools that enable you to sort of slide through very quickly, hit your in, hit your out, precision edit that, so to the frame, your clip can be anything from a second through to 15 minutes if you want it to be. You can scrub back through the last 2 hours of content, or we also have an EPG, so you could go back through, say, yesterday's content if you didn't have any resources to grab at the time. But 98% of action in Grabio happens right here around the live section. So this is grabbing the moments as they happen. So it's the evictions on Big Brother, it's the goals in the Champions League, it's goals in World Cup, or last night the biggest clip shared clearly was Suarez with another bite, and that flies because it's content that people want to see and people want to share that content. So you grab the content, you put your message in there, you set your thumbnail, so you've got the perfect thumbnail for your clip, you set your text in there, and that can contain any hashtags that you want for the program or for the brand or sponsor that may be sponsoring it. You select the social accounts you want to share it to, so your Twitter accounts for the show, your Facebook accounts. And few advanced options here, such as sharing as different types of cards, particularly video and display ads on, and save and share. And as soon as you share that clip, it will instantly appear in Twitter and Facebook. And that appears in your timeline and plays out inline in Twitter and Facebook. And if the links are clicked, they play out inline in the Grabio gallery. So the key things here are that it's real-time sharing, and when the clips are shared, it enables the monetization to take place. So we're automatically attaching sponsor and brand assets to clips. So this can either be the broadcaster's own assets, so direct house advertisements, or pushing other shows, or in the case of an ITV for the World Cup, they're actually working with sponsors. So all of the clips are wrapped in Paddy Power and Sony sponsorship, and we're integrated with the broadcaster's ad servers there, so we can serve the ads on each clip. We also serve the clips in a branded player as well. So this next slide, I just thought we recently wrote a white paper looking at kind of the trends in real-time video. It's really interesting because it's such a new area as well. So the findings were really, really interesting. But the key thing here from the first graph is, in terms of real-time, is we see hundreds and thousands of concurrents on the platform in a matter of minutes. So typically when a clip is shared to social networks, within 3 minutes we're seeing a spike of, say, 140,000 concurrent views on the platform. Which is great, because if we'd have been here a few years ago, there's always a lot of talk around second screen, and is there any money in second screen? Well, this kind of dispels that myth straight away. It proves there's an audience there to consume this content. It's a new market. So this is now enabling broadcasters and their commercial teams to be able to go out and sell new inventory around this type of model. Because ultimately, the traditional models around sponsoring, the web pages and also traditional TV slots exist, but this is new, and this is really compelling content that draws people back in. And also it has that real viral nature to it. What we see typically, like the Andy Murray clip, is that it can almost do as many shares and retweets as it does in clip views, because people may not even watch the clip, but they push it out to their friends, and then they watch the clip, and the viral reach grows. The conversation is happening. So if you take any format, be that football, entertainment shows, the conversations are happening on the social networks. And broadcasters typically have put highlights out there, but these happen often maybe 2 hours or 24 hours, in some cases 48 hours after that event has happened. So to actually put the content in there straight away, is adding to your broadcast. There's always been the kind of opinion that does this detract from our kind of broadcast values? Ultimately, if you don't do this content, people will do it for you. So you only have to see any goal that's scored from the World Cup, and there's someone there with their phone clearly against their TV, getting that content that's on a really grainy screen, and they're sharing it out to Twitter, to Facebook, putting it on YouTube. They're doing thousands and thousands of views, and you've got no monetization or brand recognition around that. And that's happening across, Vine, Facebook, and YouTube, and clearly Vine is where a lot of that content really appears. On the second one we've got here, it's the video views by device. And what we can see here is that 72% of video views across the platform, are happening on mobile devices, so mobile and tablet devices, which is really key, and I think that shows the evolution of where people are consuming content and the importance of sharing to mobile devices and actually sharing real-time clips, because it's getting to those people that have got their phones in hand that will drive them to tune into TV or to go back to your on-demand to watch your programs or consume your content. So what's in it for broadcasters and rights holders? So our model here, and what we've tried to create here, is to not just be another companion or second screen application that comes at a cost to broadcast budgets or digital budgets. We want this to be a revenue opportunity, not a cost. So it's very early days, and it's still very experimental, but we're seeing real volumes for media sales teams to be able to go out there and sell new video inventory around this. The first campaign we launched was with Sky, and that was transfer deadline day. And we're seeing in excess of 1.7 million clip views on a Champions League night from clips that have been shared. And that's continued right through. And there are also formats that we've worked on. We've done some conferences as well, where we've actually worked with the streaming partners to be able to share that content. So it doesn't necessarily have to be all about driving people back to TV. It can be driving people to your online destinations as well, and increasing your brand follows. And the key here is that this is giving the media teams the ability to go out to their sponsorship partners and get the brands involved in this. And we're seeing a lot of strong brand association with it. So in the examples I've got here, the first one is branded video galleries. So this is a clip that's been shared to Twitter, and when the video is clicked on to play, I'm not connected to the internet, so I can't play this video, but this was from the Brit Awards, which was the first Twitter Amplify campaign back in March. It plays out in a branded gallery. So here, if you can just about see it probably, you've got the Brits logo and the VO5 sponsorship in a branded player with the follow buttons for VO5. So all of the content, when it's clicked on, served a pre-roll ad, which was clickable to VO5, going through to their, depending on their choices, their male grooming section or their female section of their site. And it contained the share and the like buttons. And then the content. And the key here is the content is really good quality. People will sit through a video of 9 seconds, a pre-roll 9 seconds, or a post-roll if the content is good. And clearly with something like the Brits, sharing key moments from the award ceremony is great content. On the second one, we've got the integrated video advertising. So as I mentioned there, for the Brit Awards, we were serving a pre-roll at the start, and then the content, and then a post-roll. Depending on the client, you don't have to run advertising around it, but in the likes of something like the World Cup, there's an opportunity to serve multiple pre-rolls. So we're actually serving 2 pre-roll ads at the start of content, again, designed for the mobile device and designed for kind of short-form content. So what they're sharing are 5-second adverts, call to actions to place a bet on the game, or Gillette, clearly targeting the male audience that's watching the football. And that's wrapped around each clip. And the third part is the social marketing. So I'm sure you're probably all aware of Twitter Amplify and the likes of Facebook paid media campaigns. So to sit alongside traditional social activity, which is already happening, where the content's being distributed, the Brit Awards was one of the first campaigns where content could be amplified. So this is the case study from the Brit Awards, which was the first Amplify campaign. So that pulls together Twitter, ourselves, the Brit Awards, their agency Mindshare, and of course VO5, the sponsor. And as you can see here, I'll take you through some kind of the stats around this. So Twitter Amplify allows the brand to buy media inventory on the social network to access their target demographic and take their campaign message with premium content, in this case being great content from the Brit Awards, to a wider audience. So instead, typically, of just taking a clip and putting it out to your audience across Twitter and your followers, which maybe, say, in their case, 500,000 followers, with Twitter Amplify, they're actually able to take this clip and have it amplified with paid media to put it in front of not only the Brit Awards followers, but in terms of 5 million people that are following music. And via that, they were able to generate much more social activity than any other brand. So VO5 were not a primary sponsor, but they actually beat Cadbury to the Brit Awards social buzz with the help from Amplify. So a single tweet in this example, VO5 Music got over 5,000 mentions, and they're not a primary sponsor. And single tweet received, it's now over 2,000 retweets from one clip there. So that really proves the effectiveness of social media. That's all right. That was up pretty much instantly. So in the case of the Brits, they were showing the first minute from each performance, or sort of interviews with, say, One Direction. And you basically set your in, and as soon as the moment finishes that you want to grab, you set your out. You can even have your message pre-scripted, so you know what you're going to say, so it's a performance. And as soon as you click share, that will appear on the social networks. And from there, the amplification of that content can take place. So then you can activate the paid media. So the key thing is you're getting your content out there first and straight away, and then you can follow up with your paid media. Okay, so as kind of a summary slide, so we can all get off and watch the tennis. I'll just take you through a few other examples we've been working on. So ultimately, we're enabling broadcasters to access significant new revenues, which I think is really exciting. It's taking their content and it's putting it out there, and it's enabling them to bring in millions of dollars from single sponsorship deals. And we're seeing deals now, obviously, from the US, and the models with regards to OTT really take place. So it's not just broadcasters who are traditionally sharing this content. We are seeing the likes of Wimbledon and rights holders actually take this on. So we work with Tennis TV. So they have a live streaming platform where they live stream all of the tennis matches, but the rights for a lot of those sit with, in terms of full game rights, with broadcasters. But what they're doing with their rights is to drive people to their paid subscription. So they're sharing kind of game teasers, interviews with players, maybe key shots, to drive people into their subscriptions. You're leveraging existing fan bases here. We're not trying to create a new ecosystem. So you don't have to download another app. You don't have to target another social network. You're giving content to consumers the way they already consume it. It's just that you're giving them content in a video format, often a very short form video format, very snackable, very consumable, and it's wrapped in all of your assets. As I said, we've gone for mobile first, and we think that's really important. That's based on our background in live streaming, and ultimately that's where we're seeing our audience. Clearly, if we can build it on mobile and build it mobile first, making it on desktop work is clearly a standard thing for us, but equally as important. Going through the kind of chain, I think simplicity is at the heart of what we've tried to create here, based on the kind of the workflow in the broadcast environment, which is typically complex. So to actually put tools into broadcasters and rights holders that doesn't involve edit suites and technical teams to be able to deploy this has overcome a lot of challenges in terms of getting the right people to use it. I think typically in broadcasters, it's what we're trying to do is to marry up, and the opportunity here for all of us is to marry up the kind of the complexities between editorial and commercial. So giving the editorial teams tools that enable them to fulfill their job, and that is to be able to share content, drive social buzz around the show, bring people back in to consume that content. And the commercial teams, which is to be able to go out and sell sponsorship deals around the content that's there. Typically, our business model, I think, key is very aligned with our clients in that we share on the upside that is created via this. So we're not trying to be a cost to broadcasters. We're trying to offer this as a way to generate new revenues, which is what's happening, and we're a part of that. There's a lot of new and exciting things happening. So again, talking about how it's being used recently, Cesc Fabregas, I think in the first week of the World Cup, announced his move to Chelsea. And we had an exclusive video that was tweeted out via his Twitter account and Facebook account that was shared a video via Grabio. So the opportunity for talent to take on content now is really exciting. Be it shows or even sporting events where there are a lot of talent that all have sponsorship deals in place, the ability to give them a tool like this to be able to have content kind of recorded, it might be training ground footage that's taken, can be immediately uploaded and shared to a social network with all of your brand assets wrapped around it, is really exciting. So to summarise, real-time editing of broadcast TV and IP feeds, rapid sharing across Twitter, Facebook, mobile apps and web. Watch it on any device. Again, it's key that the content can be consumed across all platforms. Videos can be embedded into your web pages and also play out within the galleries, which again give consumers that kind of branded experience. So as opposed to just watching one video on your phone, you're presented with multiple videos so that they will consume and drive organic video viewing. Integrated sponsorship and advertising opportunity. Clearly, this is the future of real-time video and the opportunity for broadcasters and brand and sponsors to maximise. And it's an end-to-end service. It's very scalable, it's very lightweight, and it's available everywhere. So that's Grabio, and that's kind of our take on the real-time video market. So I'm more than open for any questions. Yeah, very much collaborative. So we are a Twitter Amplify partner, and we're a certified Twitter partner. Because ultimately, Twitter and Facebook, their key thing is for their consumers to have great content. And clearly there's a big push at the moment with the likes of Amplify around broadcasters and the content that they share. So this actually fits in with a lot of their plans. So we're working with them, like I say, in the examples of the likes of the Brit Awards there, to actually work and bring on board sponsors with the broadcasters to actually enable the sharing of this content. So typically a lot of broadcasters have ways of, or have Amplify deals in place and want to share content, but don't necessarily have the tools to be able to do that. Yeah.
How is it with DRM or rights management and geo-blocking and that kind of stuff? Where do you secure that?
Good question. It depends on the client in question. What we do is provide features in the platform to enable on a clip-by-clip basis to be able to restrict viewing of that. So you can geo-block. So for example, the likes of Sky will restrict access to be viewed only in the UK and Ireland. And also where you don't have the rights to say play the content out in Twitter and Facebook, we also have a feature that automatically, when the content is served, say an image card in Twitter, when you click on the link, it will take you back into your website to play that content out, again, to avoid rights issues. Typically, the sharing of the advantage of the kind of the broadcast version that we created, and one of the hurdles that really overcame, was around rights, because ultimately if you've got a broadcaster in charge of their own show, they're very savvy to know what rights they have around what content they can share, and ultimately toggle between sharing content directly to Twitter and Facebook for inline play out, or let's play this content out on our site because it's in-game footage and we don't have the rights to do that.
What about news, for example, like the London riots and things, people taking off to video?
Yeah.
How do you monetize that, and is that even possible? Because what you talked about is very much, this show is happening, we can get this
Yeah.
on board.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting one, and kind of a couple of things there. So breaking news, you've got two areas really, is the kind of the consumer, the UGC content. So that content is clearly very valuable, and it does come into to a broadcaster. They can bring that content in and upload it to the platform and share it back out. And the reason they may do that is so it's still wrapped in their assets. But typically, what we do for news specifically, we have the ability to turn advertising off as well, so that you're not, it's terrible, but there's a helicopter crash, as there was in Scotland a few months back. It's obviously news that should be shared, but you don't want to serve that with any advertising in case you've got an airline or Skyscanner sponsoring that. So clearly, you have to be very careful. So that's one option. And so that's taken in consumer content. So if the broadcast has the files, they can upload them very quickly and share them out. So they still appear in with all the content. And obviously, they can then tailor their social messaging around that. And the other option, again, is to be able to just share the breaking news straight away via Grabio. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate you taking the time to come and sit in the graveyard shift. I hope that's been useful. And I'll stick around for 5 minutes. So come and grab me if you've got any questions.